Guys, I'm here with Steve with Gun Owners of America. Steve is one of their lead attorneys over at GOA, and he's got something pretty incredible that we've been talking about for about a week and a half, but we've never drilled it down to this level of detail. Steve, tell us what you discovered today.
Yeah, so after having a couple of days to really read and digest the rule, I started to think, previously I have a NICS appeal, NFA appeal background. I've got some cases that I've helped people that have got, erroneous.
Regarding the stabilizing braces and all
no,
that?
No, regarding just NICS appeals, being denied.
Gotcha.
Right?
And we are addressing the stabilizing brace ruling, by the way, just so everybody knows.
Yeah, and so as I'm reading this rule, I'm thinking, I've had some clients in the past that have gotten NFA denials for having a background check that was not completed or that remained open past 88 days.
Okay.
In NFA parlance, it's an automatic denial.
Okay.
If you have a background check that lasts longer than 88 days, you're done.
There was no other option. Denial
It's denial. It's period, automatic denial.
Gotcha.
Or automatic disapproval.
Yep.
So I started thinking, well, what happens in a Form 1 brace case where you've Form 1'd this SBR that you have already in your possession, and the ATF gives you an automatic denial because your background check takes too long. And so I was thinking that kind of is a little scary to me because you're admitting to the ATF with your photographs, your fingerprints, a picture of your weapon, and your home address.
That you submitted.
That's right. You physically gave it to them.
Right.
For their graciousness of giving you a free text stamp.
Permission. Yeah.
So you got a disapproval letter and you're in possession of an SBR. Okay, well, that's a felony.
Right.
That's a 10-year, $250,000 felony. And so I was talking around with some people, and I'm like, what about this, what about that? And I said, shit, I'll just go talk to the ATF. They're right over there, like 10 booths down. So I went and talked to one of the division chiefs. He had no idea what I was talking about. I asked him the question as I posed, what happens in 88 days, and it's an open background denial, what happens? And he goes, well, as long as you have your registration paperwork. And I'm like, well, you don't understand what I'm saying. Do you have someone here that understands the process? So he got some lady to come talk to me, and I posed the question to her. First off, I said, do you know anything about the NFA process? She said yes. I said, do you know that after 88 days of an open background check, it's automatically disapproved? She said yes. I said, fantastic. What happens then with my guy who has a brace pistol that he wants to register as an SBR, and he has an automatic denial?
And this is the question you posed to her?
Yeah, today, just at 9:55.
Yep.
Because I tweeted it out.
Okay.
And I said, what happens with that? And she kind of well, at that point we would take an enforcement action. Now, we didn't talk about what enforcement actions are. We all know what enforcement actions mean. Someone's coming to get your stuff.
That's right. And throw you in jail.
Yeah, well, it's going to start first with people coming to you.
Yep.
And so I asked her, my follow-up to that is, do you put anything in your denial letter, your disapproval letter? Like, what are these people supposed to do? They did, in good faith, come to you. And she's like, oh, I'm going to have to get someone higher up, like a division chief, to answer that question. I'm thinking, well, God, the division chief's right here, and he doesn't seem to know anything.
Right.
So I said, well, who with the ATF can I follow up with? Who can I follow up with? Because this is not a minuscule issue. Nope. I think this is a big issue. And so the division chief that I talked to that didn't know anything gave me his card. And so I have his card.
So we know there's Second Amendment violations. This is clearly because you're incriminating yourself, and you're the attorney. This is a Fifth Amendment violation too, right?
I mean, it screams.
It can be, right?
Screams Fifth Amendment to me.
Yeah.
Because you're saying that you're in the process of committing a crime.
Yeah.
And they're using their enforcement discretion to not prosecute you as long as you remain compliant. Well, in the ATF side, you remain compliant as soon as you Form 1 your braced pistol. You're technically in violation of the law right now.
Right.
But you're remaining compliant. They're going to use their enforcement discretion until you're disapproved.
Because to be clear, in the normal process of, let's say you're wanting to buy an SBR and you're wanting to Form 1 that, you don't possess that SBR
100%.
until you get that approval or denial.
100%.
But no matter what, you've never possessed it.
But the good thing is, in that case, when you're converting a rifle into an SBR, you don't have an SBR when you start, and if you're denied, you don't have an SBR when you're done.
Right, you're just denied.
You're just denied.
Yeah.
And if it's an open background check, you're probably just not prohibited. You're just, whatever, they couldn't do it in 88 days, or maybe there's some crime that you had in your past that's not a prohibiting crime.
Right.
And I handle a lot of those cases where people, got tripped up when they were 19, 20 years old, 21, whatever. And it follows them, and they're 55 now, and they I got a delay. I got an indefinite delay. And it happens all the time.
And again, we've got a ticking clock of 88 days that window, and to be clear, when does that clock start ticking?
Yeah, so it's not like when you just submit your form, because it has to go through the ATF secret mystical process of whatever the hell they do with it. But like when they hit your background and they start doing your background check stuff, that clock's ticking, bro. I mean, it's ticking down. We don't know, how long it's supposed to take them. We don't know when they get their stuff back. I don't know. A lot of people don't know this. The FBI used to handle the background check process for the ATF. They got in a little bit of a squabble, and ATF, the FBI, told them, hey, you're going to start doing it now. I've got all these letters too. It's hysterical stuff, like with the FBI and the ATF fighting amongst each other. And I say let them fight. Let them fight.
Leave us alone. You guys fight it out. The last point I want to make is, and I know you don't have the answer to this, but I just want to get what your thoughts are. Okay, if we have an ATF that clearly has written a ruling that you're going to be in violation of on some kind of issue like that, they have to address this. At some point, they've got to address it. Like, this is like an oh crap moment. Like, I guarantee you somebody went behind their little booth and went, did you guys know that? Nope, I didn't know it. Because now that the cat is out of the bag now, they're going to have to address one of two things. Either one, that was an oversight on our part and we didn't realize that, let us work on it. They're going to say,
100%.
that's not, they're going to say, that's not what we intended.
Exactly.
That's what they're going to say. Or they have to say, yes, we knew that was in there. And then all of us look at them like, well, wait a minute. You built that trap in there purposely? So it's either an accident and it's a screw up on their part, or it's purposely done and it's a purposefully trap that they've set for every single person out there with a stabilizing brace.
I don't know. I mean, when we talk about stabilizing brace, the ATF says the intent of the manufacturer doesn't really matter. So what does the intent of the ATF really matter?
This is true.
They're screwing you one way, they're screwing you another way, and then you're still screwed.
Steven, give them your Twitter handle if you don't mind.
Oh, it's Stambo2A.
You want to follow him on Twitter for any updates like this, because this hit Twitter on his Twitter a little while ago. So you want to follow all that to get the really late, up-to-date stuff. There's things that are swimming around in Steven's head. So you want to follow him on Twitter, definitely. And more on this as it comes out. Definitely check out GOA. These guys are instrumental in doing this. Steven is one of their lead attorneys. And of course, these guys are the tip of the spear when it comes to this kind of thing. Without them pushing these buttons and making these things happen, a lot of us don't get this data and this information. So definitely a shout out to GOA and guys like Steven for doing the hard work like this. Everybody else is over here having a little bit of fun, and this guy's over here reading through stuff, thinking about things, trying to make stuff happen for us. Thank you, Steven.
I appreciate it.